Hi, this is Leaders Like Us, and I'm Lindsay Juergens. Thank you to JBS for being our series sponsor for Leaders Like Us. Today we have Christine Haba with CCC, so thank you for joining us, Christine.
Thank you. I'm super excited to be here.
Awesome. Okay, well, I've been really excited to get to chat with you, so thank you for making the time to come visit. You are doing so many things in the community and winning awards constantly right now, right? Like every 3 days you have to be somewhere to receive an award.
That.
Yeah, it sounds about right. But in your daytime job, you're also the associate director or assistant director for adult education at Central Community College.
Yes.
So you are busy, and you're a mom.
Yes.
And a wife, and you probably, and I know you're a drummer.
Guitarist. My husband's a drummer.
I've seen you on drums.
Oh, I do play the drums. You're right.
Oh my gosh. Is this a way to humble brag? Like, you're right.
I was learning them regularly, but then I kind of petered out when I was getting busy at work. So.
Okay. I was like, I don't think I'm making this up. I saw her behind the drums. Okay. So I kind of want to start sort of maybe from the beginning of what you would say has led you to where you are in this time of your life. So maybe career and what has gotten you into nonprofit work in the Grand Island area. So can you just start with some sharing on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually fell into nonprofit on accident. I started getting my bachelor's degree back in 2011 when I finished my associate degree at CCC, and my parents had always pushed me. They're like, you should do business, you should do sales. That's what you need to do, and I always felt terrible about it. I didn't see where my degree would help me with that because I was still getting the sales jobs, and I was still miserable at the sales jobs. And so I went everywhere from being a makeup artist to a furniture mover and jewelry associate, and I even repoed furniture. So that was a weird time in my life.
Wow, that's really hard to envision.
I got really strong.
Yeah. and sneaky.
Yeah. And then I started working at the bookstore at the CCC Hastings campus. But they only had part-time hours, and I saw this job for volunteer coordinator part-time. And it was for adult education in Hastings. And I was like, okay, I'll do it. And working there was just so life-changing for me. I got to see how so many different people live and just how privileged I was with being able to read, having literacy, knowing English. So for probably 3 years, I worked there as a volunteer coordinator, helping people learn English and get their GEDs. And their stories were just so inspiring. They were like, it's not too late for me, I can do this. And I was like, well, shoot, I should get my bachelor's degree. So I had a really great supervisor who just pushed me. And she was like, let's professionally develop you. You're capable of this. And I'm like, that's interesting that you say that. I had very low self-esteem.
Oh, yeah.
But she's pushing the books on me. She put me in all the Fred Pryor seminars. And then I graduated with my bachelor's, and I was like, you know what? I really love this place. I want to move up in it. So I went and got my master's the following year at Bellevue University.
Wow.
And then everything just lined up perfectly. Right when I finished my master's, a position opened up here in Grand Island that was directly above my position. And I was like, okay, I'm going to go for it. And I got it. And Grand Island's home for me now the last 3 years. Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Gosh. Okay. So it's so interesting to hear people whenever I get to hear people talk about how they discovered this part of themselves or maybe rediscovered this part of themselves. And so you mentioned not having a whole bunch of self-esteem at that time. And you had someone saying no, I think you can do this.
Yeah.
It's powerful.
Absolutely. One of the things I always try to tell others now that I'm ahead of it and do have self-esteem is if you can't find that in yourself, find someone who does, because they can push you and they can give you all the possibilities that you can't see for yourself at the time.
That's really well said. I wish we had saved that for the very last thing of the episode, because that's
Try to pull something else out at the end.
just put some filler in there.
Yeah, no
That was
problem.
really good. That's
Thanks.
just an incredible point. I obviously am thinking about like for a younger person, but I also am so inspired by people who might be a little later in life. And they're like, I've always wanted to do this, I'm going to go for it. And it's just a good reminder that you're not too old to do the thing. So, for example, you working in adult education, there are folks of all ages coming through your doors looking for a new opportunity for themselves. And that's super cool.
Yeah, it was mostly them that inspired me, having a 76-year-old who's like, it's not too late to learn English, I'm ready
my
for it.
gosh.
And then having a 50-year-old that was like, I just want to get my GED. It's something that's defeated me for so long. And he did it, and I was like, wow,
Yeah.
like anything is possible.
Yeah, it really is. And so one of the awards that you just won was the Inspire Community Partner Award. Can you talk a little bit about what led to that?
Yes, so I was surprisingly nominated by a friend.
Yeah.
And the Community Partner Award was for someone who is involved in the community, who's a partner of the community, and I have my hand in several organizations right now. The first year when I came here to adult education, it was 2020, so it was in the middle of COVID. But like after my first year, that's when we really started going back to like being involved in other organizations
Right.
and meeting. And so I was asked to be on the Citizen Advocacy Board. So I am the treasurer for that. And then I got involved with Big Brothers Big Sisters, their voice program. So I'm a bigger big for them.
Yeah.
Teaching kids of color about their identity and their race and how to navigate the world.
Yeah.
And then from there, I was asked to be on the board for Big Brothers Big Sisters. So I'm on the board for that. And then I was also asked to be on the board for the YWCA of Grand Island.
Yeah.
And so I serve on there, and then I also am a big for a second grader for Big Brothers Big Sisters. So
Oh my gosh.
yeah.
And you're raising,
4 teenagers.
Four.
Well, one just turned 20, so
Yeah.
he doesn't count anymore.
no, he got kicked out of the
Yeah.
teen club.
Yeah, he did. And then my Great Dane Kevin, I'm raising him as well.
That's great.
He needs the most care.
Yeah, probably. And you can't leave him home alone. What?
No.
Anyway, Kevin
No, he
reference, Kevin McAllister
Oh, no.
reference.
No,
Sorry.
he'll scream.
Yeah. Okay. It wasn't good. So you're super busy, but it sounds like you're spending your time doing things that are so community oriented. I mean, obviously, for you to be doing what you're doing, but it seems like you like to have a really positive impact on others, and that's so admirable. And then for you to be sharing directly your inspiration with the younger folks that you're involved with, like that's pretty special stuff.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I just really love it. And like going back to what we talked about earlier, it can just take one person.
Yeah.
So we have so many opportunities to be that one person for someone. I'm like, I'm gonna take all of them.
Yeah,
So
for sure. Can you talk to me a little bit, because I'm unfamiliar with, you said it was I think it was within Big Brothers Big Sisters, talking with kids of color.
yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. So Big Brothers Big Sisters and YWC of Grand Island did a pilot program for what's called Voice. And so it's a group of 7 kids of color.
Okay.
Right now, it's a pilot program, and 3 mentors of color. And so we've spent almost 2 years together every Sunday talking about issues of race, growing up as a POC, person of color, what it looks like to navigate, and then also just having a safe space for kids to talk about their experiences. Like, unfortunately, our kids still do experience racism, like blatant racism, but having a space where they feel validated, where we're like, that's pretty messed up, and we'll go fight them if
Right.
you want us to. But like just
Yeah.
having, like, they don't need us to go fight them because they have
Yeah.
a space where they're like, okay, I feel heard, I feel seen. And then now we're really working on action plans. Like, what does it look like to take care of yourself and Give yourself boundaries so you're not doing work that you don't need to do. And what
That's
does
so
it
important.
absolutely. And then also, what does it look like to walk away from situations that don't serve you?
Yeah. Gosh. And how old are the kids in this program?
They are all the way from 14 up to 18.
Can you imagine? I know just a little bit about you, but can you imagine knowing that kind of information at 14, 16, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18? Like, I had no idea that that was possible to have boundaries.
Right. I don't.
How incredible.
Even now, I'm still struggling. I'm like,
I
I don't know
know.
what that looks like.
Yeah.
But like being able to like teach that, like that would be
Yeah.
life changing for me.
That's incredible that you're able to do that for young people.
Yeah. Thank you.
Really important stuff.
And everything, like there's so much that they teach too.
Yeah.
They've just challenged us on so many things where I get to grow too. So it's been amazing.
I was just about to ask you, what's something you've learned from them?
Forgiveness. They are so quick to forgive and try to understand other people. Where like us as adults, we've been hardened a little bit. And when we
Yeah.
hear something wrong happen to them, our automatic response is anger. We're
Sure.
like, how do we do this?
We get sort of protective. Yeah.
And of course, because it's their space, we say, what do you want us to do? What do you want to do about this? And the first thing they say is like, well, like maybe we should tell them how it works. We should educate them. Or maybe they should come hang out in our space. And I'm like, fine, that's very cool of you.
You're probably right.
Yeah, but it's like,
That's really sweet.
yeah, being able to like, I hope we
Yeah.
can preserve that, because I think if you don't have the space, that's where you start to have the anger. But if they can have that space to just feel like they're safe,
Yeah, and
then
heard.
they can continue to have that type of outlook.
I love that. That is such a gift that I would assume everyone involved mutually receives from one another.
Yeah, we've become so close.
I am sure. I totally believe that. That's pretty special stuff. If someone wants to get involved with Voice, what does that look like? And what are the needs right now for the program?
Yeah, so that's actually really important right now. We have openings for high schoolers right now for the next Voice cohort, so it goes a full 2 years, and that's for high schoolers. And all they would need to do is call Big Brothers Big Sisters, or even
Okay.
email, or if like you have my email, or like I will stalk the social media if you want and
Yeah.
reach out to you. If parents or even kids are interested just to know more,
Yeah.
then they can get more information from us about what it looks like week to week.
Right.
There's
What
free
about just
dinner.
like messaging, free dinner? Sorry.
Yeah.
Finish your thought. I did
Like,
not mean to
That's
interrupt.
it, free dinner.
If someone were to message, say, the page of Big Brothers Big Sisters on Facebook, would that be a
Yes,
way to also get in
absolutely.
contact?
That'd be a quick way to get in contact.
And then I guess I'm just curious about the specifics around high schoolers. So do you have like an age range on that?
Yeah,
or-
so it would be anywhere from incoming 9th graders to 11th graders.
Okay, perfect.
So that way that the 11th graders are there for the full 2 years.
Alrighty. And this is specifically for young people of color though, correct?
Yes,
To go
yes.
into it. All right, perfect. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
What are you excited about? You know, you've got a lot of really nifty irons in the fire. What's something you're looking forward to?
Oh man, I'm really excited to see where Grand Island's gonna be in a couple years. We have a lot of awesome like welcoming initiatives and like plans for Welcoming Week and Culture Fest to like have Grand Island be more diverse. And I think especially as it lines up with like the economic development of Grand Island,
Right.
I think there's a lot of potential for Grand Island to really shine in central Nebraska as a city. And I think people will want to stay here. Like I just really hope at some point, like everybody loves Grand Island as much as I have coming into it. I'm like, I hope everyone thinks it's great because it's great for me.
You know, it's funny you say that because one thing that I get a sense from in you that I so appreciate, and this is just on the daily, you emit a sense of optimism and joy and that is not found in everybody. Love y'all, but like that's not found in everybody. And it's not only contagious, but it's contagious in a good way. And one thing that in the way that I've learned over the years to get past struggles and face challenging times, for me, a sense of optimism is mandatory. And I think that's like a mental health thing for me personally. I have to have that there. I have to say, okay, if there's a challenge, we have to work on it because it's going to be better if we work on it, right? Like you're
Absolutely.
chasing the better. And I think it's not only fun, but it's good for you. So what you're doing is probably good for you, but it's also good for the people around you.
Yeah.
It's just good stuff that you're doing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I love being able to think of potential.
Yes.
And, going back to like the mindset our kids have in voice,
Mm-hmm.
it's like always looking for the best in people. And what would a community look like if everyone was their best?
Yeah.
And so-
Right. Right. That's one thing I really enjoy about working with youth leadership tomorrow. That's the youth program I oversee within Leadership Unlimited. And the kids in the program are all juniors in high school. And I love that whenever they hear a challenge, they start thinking about how to work on it. And unfortunately, something that adults can do that's super lame is just hear that something is bad and just start talking about, well, how much worse it's going to get. That is my kryptonite. I'm like, I start shrinking and shriveling. Like, don't do that, please.
Yeah.
Like, let's just say, okay, here's the problem. Let's just get creative in our solution seeking. If you feel like all things are tapped out, I guarantee they're not. So
Absolutely.
it's fun to explore solutions.
Yeah, and if I ever like find people in that mindset, I'm always like, go eat and go sleep.
Yeah.
And then we'll come back to it. We don't have to solve the problems today.
No, you really don't. And you probably won't, right? So,
No.
yeah, just little baby steps.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what do you, whenever you're around like your own kids and you see the struggles that they face, what are the things you try to share with them that maybe you wish younger Christine would have known?
Well,
That's right. Well.
influence over your own kids is a lot different from influence from other kids. So,
Real talk. Yeah.
but luckily, one of the kids is biologically mine, and then I have 3 stepkids. But luckily, I've been able to step in and be another parent figure for them. One of the things I just do is I'm just transparent all the time.
Yeah.
Like if they say school sucks, I'll be like, school really sucked for me. There were days where I couldn't get out of bed and it was terrible. And I want you to know that's okay if you feel that way.
Yeah.
And just let me know if you need a mental health day.
I love that so much.
And
Yeah.
then like just talking about like dating and like being more open to like, there's so many new concepts and ideas that I can't keep up with, especially like with things coming out on TikTok. I mean, there are like 6 different social media platforms you have to keep up with now.
Right.
Being open to it rather than giving them an answer when they talk about something, I try to ask a question. I try to be curious of like, can you help me understand it? And then also just giving them their autonomy and space. This has been the hardest part for me is I want to protect them all the time from basically everything.
Sure.
But being able to step back and let them handle some things on their own so they can be stronger, and then also just be there for them when they need someone to be there for them.
Yeah.
That's been the biggest challenge, but I think it's been helpful.
That is so important. Like the piece about you want to raise people who aren't scared of a challenge. I don't want my kids to be like, oh, there's something in front of me that I don't know how to figure out and shut down and feel like there's no way out. No, I want you to be bold and say, I'm going to, figure this out, maybe with other input. Don't be afraid to ask for help. All of that's really big. So
Yeah.
I hear you on that.
Yeah.
Christine, thank you so much for coming today, sharing what you're doing, what excites you, some of those why pieces. The why pieces are what keep us going, and what you're doing in our community is clearly so important because everybody wants to give you an award. I think you have to leave here in like 20 seconds because you need to go receive your next award. So I need to wrap this up, but thank you so much.
Thank you.
And thank you to JBS for being our series sponsor. This is Leaders Like Us, and I'm Lindsay Juergens.